go. Back. I am back with something to talk about. It's been pretty crazy. Let me show you. Alright, no more sound effects. This. Oh, I guess I should have a light. I wonder where I put it. Found it. So that is the flex coupling. Now the flex coupling was complicated. It was complicated. I thought it was just going to be 3 bolts and done. But I started out by cranking on the wrong 3 bolts. Those, these little dudes right here, see, holding a backup. There's 3 of them, one there, and one right there that the light is sort of washing out. So that guy, and that guy are where I started on the front side, not realizing that back here those were just going to spin round and round and round and round and round. You have to hold a backup on those. Also not realizing that there is a shaft right there that actually goes into the flex coupling. The pictures in all of the manuals, I've got the factory Toyota Previa manual and the Haynes manual and Chilton's manual. Anyway, I think the factory manual kind of shows that little shaft, but the other manuals in the pictures and in the diagrams, they really don't do an accurate, it's not, that surprised me. Anyhow, we got it loose. You might be able to see we've got it held in place with some baling wire. So the baling wire is going to do a good job at keeping that thing steady. I have removed these wiring harnesses a little at a time. That's where it was mounted to up here on the block. As you can see, I got a bunch of... This little baby's going to get a good hard cleaning. This is woo! Looks like a mess! Anyway, there's my intake manifold. You can kind of see the intake manifold going on into the other side. The wiring harnesses, let's go and check that out. So, the wiring harnesses have these little bolts that hold them on. There's going to be that guy right there and that guy right there. Mine were already broken. I think this plastic, whoever been jacking around in here before, them damn Yankees, just busted everything off. Again, it's just not done properly. But that's okay, because I'll fix it, and when I'm finished, it will be done by the book. That's another thing. Like yesterday, I talked about Southern Engineering. Southern Engineering is, just to be clear, not what I'm doing here. With this van and trying to make it to 1,000,000 miles, I'm going to be doing all of this, putting it back by the book so that every little T is crossed and every little I is dotted, per those 3 manuals that I'm going off of, just to make sure that this thing, she's not going to have any problems and she's going to make it to 1,000,000 miles. So, one thing that I noticed as soon as I started is that, like, right there on the intake manifold, see, there's like, it looks like a ground, or, not a ground, but a wire of some sort has been arcing on that. There's, it's sort of melted into, and then there's all this black sort of fuming going on. So, obviously, that doesn't look good. It doesn't look good for the wiring. And I'll tell you, something peculiar that this van's been doing since I bought it is every now and then, not all the time, but just every now and then, driving down the road, it'll just like rev itself up, like it'll just rev up super high, jump out of gear, and just max out on the RPMs, and then just go right back to behaving like normal, like nothing ever happened. So it's kind of odd, and I've never really been able to figure that out, but actually that might be my answer if I can, you know, correct this issue with the wiring harness and not having it arc out. I imagine it probably arced out occasionally and then caused a little engine seizure. Not seizure as in locking up, but seizure as in lack of flow to the brain. I often sort of equate every little thing that she does to human activities, because Opal has her own little personality, and I love her, and she loves me. But anyhow, we have gotten everything off. You have to remove these plugs. These are my fuel injectors. So all the fuel injector plugs come off. You have to undo these bolts to get this harness free. Back here there's a little plug. That has to come off. So you have to make sure all these little plugs are disconnected. Otherwise, when you go to drop this engine, it's going to yank that wiring, and then you're not going to be happy with the result. So really make sure that you have everything disconnected. We kind of have better view of the front of the engine. Now the wiring harness sort of just goes there. We'll follow it along with the light along the wall, and then into the passenger side right there where that grommet is. Goes to the other side of that little wall and then plugs into the engine control module. So because of that, this whole harness has to stay behind, and I have just set it right here inside the passenger compartment. Got it all laid out so it'll be nice and out of the way. And we are currently in the process of lowering and removing the engine. And I'm pretty excited about this. Obviously it's not in the position. Let me tell you, I elected to remove the transmission mounts first. Once I had the transmission mounts removed, then I came up here and removed these motor mounts. Once the motor mounts are out, you have to be very careful with that little shaft that was in the flex coupling. But we just sort of scooted, pulled the engine back slowly until that shaft cleared, and now we're going to go ahead and start reducing the height of the engine and sort of pulling it back as well. So I'll take another video once we have it all the way out of here, but it looks like we're getting there. We're about there.